So we're going to bring some information to you guys on how we kind of started our OpenShift journey about 2 years ago. Year and a half is kind of mainly for our team. But we are from Garmin. My name's Brett Summers. I've been in IT for a little over 10 years at this point, more from the ops side. And
I'm Jonathan Regehr. I've been in IT for about 25 years. Started as an application developer and I founded the platform team at Garmin with a couple of other folks about 10 years ago, and here we are.
All right, so I'm the team lead of the platform engineering team. At Garmin, I guess, who's heard of Garmin? Quite a few. Who has Garmin wearables, products? Okay, cool. So at Garmin, we are roughly 19,000 associates in 35 countries. We bring GPS, navigation, and wearable technologies to many of the different markets. So automotive, marine, outdoor, aviation, fitness. Mainly, I think, what people know about in their cars previously were like the old dashboards, like GPS machines, but it's even down to the point where it's all in your watch now. So our platform team helps kind of enable the development teams at Garmin to have their applications run on a platform. For our specific journey with OpenShift, we have moved away from, or we're in the process of moving away from Cloud Foundry and over to OpenShift. Yeah, go to the next. So with that, I guess I'll let Jonathan kind of talk to it, but with our move, we have kind of spoiled our developers on what we have within Cloud Foundry today. So an example of that, they have a couple clicks, they can get a Redis instance. It's easy peasy. We're trying to duplicate that within OpenShift, and we've took the approach of automating everything, developer experience up front, and when it comes to scaling, we want that as effortless as possible. So I'll leave it up to Noah.
All right, so what we want to talk through here today is how we generate configuration. So we use a pipeline for that, as no big surprise there. We walked into our OpenShift journey with our eyes wide open, having been a Cloud Foundry shop for a long time. We knew what we wanted to do as far as what we wanted to bring to our developers. We knew what we didn't want to do as far as what we wanted to do to ourselves as the platform team. And with the scale we knew was coming, we knew there was no way we were going to be able to keep up if we did anything manually. So our goal is to do everything as automated as we possibly can. So that starts with this config generation pipeline. Across the top of the screen, you can see there are 4 Bitbucket repos that make up this pipeline, or that back the pipeline. We currently have 40 clusters. We think that number is going to grow quite a lot. So the first repo that you can see here, oh, I'm sorry, I'm a slide ahead on what I'm looking at. There we go, okay. So the first repo you can see in the top left, and by the way, that GitHub QR code is going to be on a whole bunch of slides, so if you don't catch it on a slide, it will be at the end and it will be much bigger. The cluster configuration is currently 2,500 lines. It's a hierarchical design. So our goal was to have as little cluster information as possible in an individual file so that when we needed to make new clusters, we didn't have thousands and thousands of lines of configuration to fill out. So that's that top left box. By the way, the green things, some of those repos are branched for this demo. They don't all have to be branched. We can branch where we need to accomplish our goals. But we're dealing with a branch called Summit Demo today. In our ops configuration repo, we have 130,000 lines. That is basically all of the automation code that takes a little bit of configuration and turns it into a lot of cluster. And then we have developer configuration. So again, our goal is to make this process as simple as we possibly can for our developers. Quick illustration. A long time ago, I heard someone say that a manager's job is to absorb heat and radiate joy. And I had an epiphany a little while ago. Yeah, I know. All the managers in the room are like, I really hate you right now. Sorry. Well, that's really our job too, except the heat and the joy are different. Our job is to absorb heat in terms of developer friction and radiate joy in terms of developer ease. I will show them anything they want to see, any part of our process that they want to understand or get involved with. I'm more than happy to have them do that. But I'm sure in your organization you also have people who are like, I just want to write code. We want to make sure that those people are also successful and that their applications can also get to production. Lastly, we have a generated configuration repo that is currently 1.4 million lines and growing. That repo is basically all configuration that has been generated and that ArgoCD is then going to apply to make a cluster something that is usable. So that includes DNS, NTP, developer configuration, anything that is needed to make a cluster useful for what we need it to be used by, that's in that repo. You may be wondering, some of you may know that ArgoCD can generate a lot of things on the fly, and there's a reason why we're not doing that. If we have enough time at the end, I'll get into that. So we want to demo this. We're going to generate a banner. Whoops, that went a little quick.
We're going to try to make this as simple as possible, just to show the ease and how powerful this is for us at Garmin.
Yeah. So whether we are generating DNS configuration, anything else, all of the AD group synchronization that needs to happen for people to access the clusters, all of that happens exactly the same way as what I'm going to show you. There's just a whole lot more of it, so I think this is a great demo because it's very simple and digestible. So across the top of the screen here, you can see when you have, so we started with 5 Cloud Foundry foundations, and that was confusing. We have 40 clusters today. That's really confusing. So as a platform team, I always have to know what cluster am I on and what am I doing here. So we bannered all of our clusters, and so you can see across the top we have the environment, the data center, the network zone, the name of the cluster, and then we recently added a branch. So that Summit demo is the branch that this cluster is pulling its configuration from. All right, so how we generate this banner. So we have, again, the 3 repos, the cluster config, the Jsonnet template that is being used to apply this to the cluster, and then what that will generate. So I apologize, this font probably could be a little bigger. At the very end, I'll have a QR code up, and you can basically run this demo for yourself on your laptop in a much more scaled-down manner than actually running a full generation pipeline. So, like I said, we have hierarchical definitions for our clusters. So we'll start at the bottom here in the all clusters. Let me use the laser. No, I won't. Okay, across the bottom, sorry. In the all clusters, so any configuration that applies to every single cluster we have, we put that in all, and you can see here we have banner colors for production, non-production, and sandbox. And then coming up from there, in the data center level, we need to know what data center we're in. And then across the top, in the specific cluster definition, you can see we have environment, network zone, name, and the generated config revision or branch. Okay. Next, we have the Jsonnet template. So this should look eerily like Kubernetes YAML to you. You can see we have the API version, the kind, the metadata, and the spec. This is a Jsonnet file, so it is outputting JSON. JSON and YAML are very, very similar, and Kubernetes speaks both. So we've had success using JSON as most of our generation language. And you can see we've got the background color, which is being dereferenced from some variables in the cluster file, and then next across the bottom, where the text is, we are dereferencing a bunch of information, again, from the cluster in order to generate what we need to generate. This is what comes out of that process. Again, this should look quite a lot like the YAML that you'd use. You've got your API, kind, metadata, and spec. It is in JSON format, but it works just like the YAML format you would expect to see. So let's sort of do this live, but there's a lot of demo gods to tempt here, so we're going to do this with a video. And again, this video is probably the reason that we are using a Windows laptop instead of something else for our presentations here today. So for everyone that had to present, I'm sorry, it's my fault. All right. Okay, so this video is going to start. You can see the same cluster that we were looking at here, and across the top you've got the banner. Now let's pop into the code. Okay, so real quick here, there was the banner colors, and then now here we are editing the configuration for this cluster. We could have overridden this in a few different places, but since we're already on a branch, why not just edit our file directly? So the color that's being chosen here is actually one of the Red Hat brand approved yellows, and we're also going to say hello Denver because here we are. Okay, so next, of course, we will git commit. Yeah, I'm going to skip in a minute here. I'm just going to let this happen. Well, we probably could. I don't know if I can skip the video while we're running here. I can skip an entire slide, so I'll do that next. But there is something I wanted to show off here. Okay, so as soon as that git commit happened, that immediately fired a webhook, and the pipeline that you can see there, we're going to click into that just to show it's running. And no, I'm not going to make you watch paint dry as this whole pipeline generates, but we'll take a quick look at that. That's the blue and blue stripe across the middle of the screen is that one. Let's skip ahead here. Okay, so, I should have skipped a little sooner. Okay, so here we are. There's our pipeline, and what I want to do while this pipeline is running is talk to you about what Jsonnet is. So Jsonnet is a data templating language. It is extremely powerful. It's built around JSON, so you can take any JSON file, and that is a valid Jsonnet. But then you also have all kinds of extra power like functions, conditionals, variables, all kinds of great stuff. You can easily scale configuration with it because, again, you can use imports and things to make hierarchical data designs. You can almost think of it like a poor man's RDBMS. So that's basically how we've defined all of our cluster data. And then you can generate all kinds of different things with it. You can generate JSON, YAML. We actually have a README file that contains links to all of our clusters and all of the different types of links you need, such as the ArgoCD for the cluster, any console, things like that. We generated that with Jsonnet to make it very easy to find our clusters. Okay, let's pretend that this pipeline has run all the way through. The next slide, I'm gonna ask you to notice something really quickly. Okay, so here we are, we're committing what we just generated, and the way the automation works, you could do nothing and then go and see the results, but because we're impatient, we're going to pop into ArgoCD for a minute and force it to refresh so that we can actually catch really fast what's happening. I just need to wait a second for that to happen. So Karina, I was thinking for swag here, one swag question we could ask. How many Garmin devices do you have? Maybe we can swag the person with the most. Yeah, there's that too, right? We do, some of our products do go obsolete. Okay, look real fast here. We're going to refresh the ArgoCD. At the very bottom of the screen where banner top is, that is going to go yellow for just a minute, and that is when ArgoCD is actually applying the newly generated configuration, and voila, here we have Hello Denver on our banner, and our banner is now yellow. Thank you. All right, so I do have a question slide. Karina, I don't know how we're doing on time. If you want us to take questions, we can. But the whole point of this slide, that is the QR code I promised you. It should be big enough to be pictured from the back. I have 7 minutes. Wow, I talk really fast.
So yeah, that QR code will take you to our public GitHub repo, and it will kind of go through a basic demo of what we just did there. So you can easily run it. For those that are familiar with Jsonnet or Jsonnet, there is a new Rust version that came out recently. So that one is also linked in there. So just if you guys have some time, go take a look at it, and let us know your thoughts.
Yeah.